I could do a whole deep dive on JoJo Siwa and the weird adults around her all her life, but I'll save that for 2024. Alrighty, well, hello sinners. How are ya? On today's installment of the Letterboard of Truth, our quote of the day is "Karma's a witch." Sorry, I can't curse in the first 30 seconds. Thanks, YouTube. Is anyone else tired of hearing about JoJo Siwa? I know I am. So let's talk about JoJo Siwa. JoJo's transformation from a larger-than-life child star who wears big hair and sparkly outfits to a former larger-than-life child star who wears big hair and sparkly outfits, and also insane clown posse makeup, has been super fascinating to witness. However, after falling down this bedazzled rabbit hole, I've learned there's more to JoJo's butchered Black Swan cosplay than meets the eye. The controversy surrounding her single Karma has been nothing short of chaotic, and it seems like our new bad girl is up to some shenanigans every week. While the styling is pretty unique, if having a bad girl era means partying with child predators and exploiting children, then yeah, that's bad, girl. The lesbian community is in desperate need of crisis management, and if anyone's gonna step up to the plate, I guess it'll be me. I'm getting way ahead of myself though. Before we examine why JoJo's forced edgy persona has dominated news cycles, let's travel back in time. Going over JoJo's rise to fame, her origin story if you will, is essential in understanding how JoJo became who she is today and why all this was bound to happen. If you're only interested in a certain era or the present day drama, feel free to skip around using the chapter markers in the description. But for the rest of you, grab a snack, grab your JoJo juice as we figure out, is Karma a bitch or will JoJo come back like a boomerang? And as always, don't go and harass anyone I mentioned today. Please keep the discussion in the comments. Cool? Cool. I did not mean for that to happen. Oh my god. Okay, we're keeping it. Joelle Joannie Siwa. Born on May 19, 2003 in Omaha, Nebraska to parents Tom and Jesselyn Siwa and older brother Jaden. According to Western astrology, JoJo's sign is Taurus, but according to her mom, JoJo's sign is dollar. It seemed like JoJo was destined to be in the limelight at an early age if Jess had anything to do with it. She owned 3 dance studios in the early 2000s, which is where JoJo began her training. But dance practice didn't start and end at the studio. When asked about JoJo's early childhood in a 2019 Rolling Stone article, Jess said, "From then, I literally ran with it. We had a CD player in our kitchen, so I would always be making mac and cheese and say, 'Oh, let's do a dance.' And she would just do her dance. Her dancing became so beloved that guests would request to see it. I would literally wake her up at night and she would do her dance," Jesselyn recalls. This was around the time she began entering JoJo into dance competitions, though JoJo wasn't even out of diapers, mind you. Side note, you know how you could scrub through a YouTube video and see which parts are the most replayed? Well, I couldn't help but notice that the frames with the highest peaks are when a 2-year-old JoJo Siwa kicks her leg in the air to do a tilt. And why is that? Anyway, I'm about to drop the bombshell of the f***ing century. JoJo's not a natural blonde. Jess started dyeing JoJo's hair when she was just a toddler.
You know, your hair is getting really dark. We're gonna need to lighten this up.
I have been dyeing my hair since I was like 2, maybe 1.5. I'm not a natural blonde. I'm actually a natural brown. I get brown roots, so I have to dye it so it looks like I'm a natural blonde.
I have nothing against dyeing your hair, of course. Hair is a big part of many people's self-expression. However, the problem comes in when you're applying those harsh chemicals to a child's scalp. I don't think it needs to be said, but in case you need convincing as to why this is bad, Professor James G. Wagner, PhD of Pathobiology and Diagnostic Investigation explained, "We generally consider children as more sensitive to toxicant exposure. Lower body volume means higher doses. Growth and development of some body systems, especially those responsible for endocrine, metabolic, neurocognitive, and reproductive functions, can be sensitive to DNA-altering chemicals, and host defense systems may not be fully mature to detoxify foreign substances. While the physical risk factors may be obvious, I feel like the potential psychological effects would be tenfold. As a mother, what kind of message are you sending your kid when you're actively trying to hide a natural feature of theirs? I'd imagine teaching your child to be ashamed of a part of themselves at such a young age would have a detrimental effect on their self-esteem. Yet for Jess, this was the first step in making her child a star. But the true catalyst was an encounter with a fellow stage mom at a community theater audition. This mother claimed that she wanted to move to California and turn her daughter into the next Hannah Montana, but Jess wasn't having that, because JoJo was going to be the next Hannah Montana, and so she set out on her mission. Before we continue, I have a challenge for you. Google you or your loved one's legal name right now. Oh, you don't want to? Well, I triple dog dare you, so you kind of have to. But you might be surprised at how much of your private information is out there. And I mean your home address, phone number, health records, anything you could think of that you'd want to keep private. When I typed in my mom's full name, I was taken aback by how much sensitive information I found, and that was just from one Google search. This is what data brokers do though. They sell your information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who wants to know more about you. By checking out today's sponsor, Aura, you can see which data brokers are selling your information, and they'll automatically submit opt-out requests on your behalf. Not only has this cut down the amount of spam I receive, but I'm also protected from hackers who'd otherwise use this data to infiltrate my accounts. Other tools included in Aura's app are an antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and it's all available at one affordable price. You may already have one or two of these programs, but not having Aura is like locking your car door and leaving the windows down. Why would you want to do that? Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping me and my loved ones safe online, and they can do that for you too. So if you also value your privacy, head over to aura.com/Annamarie Forcino to start your 2-week free trial, which will also be linked in the description. Again, that's aura.com/Annamarie Forcino. So thank you to Aura for always looking out for me and my sinners' private data. Now let's get back to your scheduled programming. At just 5 years old, JoJo and Jess embarked on their first trip to LA to kickstart JoJo's career. I should clarify that JoJo was the 5-year-old, Jess was probably like 30 or something. But it wasn't until a few years later when JoJo made her reality TV debut. In the meantime, she was homeschooled every year except for one semester in 3rd grade. According to JoJo, she tested very advanced for her age in kindergarten, so her family waited 3 years to register her for public school.
And so I did classes at the zoo and just like fun stuff for a few years. And then I went to normal school, got state tested, and I was fine. I was very ahead, very advanced still. So I was like, school's not for me. Then that next year, 4th grade, is when I started working in the industry.
Then in 2013, Jess submitted audition tapes of JoJo for the 2nd and final season of Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition. This was a spin-off of the hit Lifetime series Dance Moms, where a dozen or so dancers from across the US compete for $100,000 in a scholarship to the Joffrey Ballet School, one of the most prestigious dance studios in North America. JoJo came in 5th place, which is still impressive considering she was the youngest competitor that season. And even though she lost the competition, JoJo won the network executive's heart. She was one of those rare personalities that I couldn't stop thinking about, executive producer Brian Stinson tells Rolling Stone. Jesselyn and JoJo relocated to Los Angeles while filming the series, and while JoJo placed 5th, the producers saw raw and unfiltered catnip for reality TV fans. Soon after, JoJo made her first appearance on Dance Moms in Season 4, Episode 3, titled Abby Strikes Back, during Abby Lee Miller's auditions in Orlando. I say appearance generously, but if you look closely, you can see JoJo and her giant BowBow in a few shots. JoJo and her mom return next season in Episode 3, aptly titled JoJo with a BowBow, to replace Chloe and Christy after they left at the end of Season 4. However, Abby didn't give JoJo her ALDC jacket, signifying her as a permanent member of the elite team until episode 11, Nia's Last Chance. But this is Abby Lee Miller we're talking about. Of course, she didn't just hand JoJo her jacket, are you kidding me? Instead, she assigned homework to the other dancers where they had to list reasons why JoJo should be on the team and why JoJo should not be on the team. If you think this sounds like hazing, you'd be right. Abby Lee Miller and or the producers at Lifetime forced these little girls to haze another child, which is already messed up in itself, but JoJo was the only dancer in the entire series to endure this strange initiation.
The first reason is sometimes she's very loud, sometimes she's off in the group dances, and sometimes she's a little too crazy.
All right, what are the good things?
She's kind, and she puts a lot of hard work into our dances.
Okay.
You had some timing issues, sometimes a little too loud, but she's very dedicated and hardworking. You respect us.
Good word, respect.
You're still getting used to picking up in 2 days, and obviously you're crazy in public.
Something about the scene is just like a stab to the heart. Years later, the Siwas claimed that JoJo was crying because of how excited she was to be on the team, and the editors took those clips out of context. Regardless, this was just cruel and it never should have happened. It's one thing to teach kids how to take criticism. It's an important skill to learn, especially when you're in a creative field like dance, but we could have done without the personal jabs at JoJo. And if you're gonna initiate peer-to-peer feedback, at least make sure the girls stick to the subject. Dance. From what was shown, the only person who did that was Kalani.
Lip sync when you're on stage.
Despite how blunt some of the girls' comments were, I don't think the blame should fall on them when there were 6 adults in the room who sat back and watched JoJo be humiliated. Personally, that would be the last time my kid was at that dance studio. No check from Lifetime would be worth putting my daughter through psychological torture. I know it's more complicated than that because they were under contract, but you get what I'm going for. The producers are definitely at fault as well, because I'm sure they fed lines to some of the girls to turn that moment into good reality TV. Take this clip of Nia, for example.
You take opportunities from people who have been here longer.
You're gonna sit here and tell me that wasn't scripted? Be serious. I say this next part with all the peace and love in my heart because Nia faced a lot of abuse in her time on Dance Moms, but JoJo was not the reason why she rarely got solos. The reason was Abby's excessive favoritism towards Maddie and her extreme disdain for Holly. Though JoJo and Jess bounced after 2 seasons of Dance Moms, they certainly made the most of their time on the show. I didn't keep up as much after Chloe, Paige, and Brooke left, so my knowledge on the second half of Dance Moms is limited. But from what I've seen online, it wouldn't surprise me if Merriam-Webster added Jess's picture next to the definition of stage mom. Apparently, Jess was known for doing anything for more screen time, even bullying a child. Let's take a look at a couple interactions between Jess and Bryn from season 6, episode 23. From what I've gathered, Bryn became one of Abby's favorites in the later seasons, stirring tension among the moms, especially Jess, likely due to jealousy. In this episode, Bryn was stressed to tears while practicing her duet for the upcoming competition. She locked herself in the bathroom, so her mom and Abby went in to comfort her. Meanwhile, Jess called Bryn a baby for crumbling under stress.
Get every opportunity handed to you and then cry about it.
We should just not do the duo then. Just be like, then you don't have a duo, that's fine.
Yeah, if you don't like, you know what, how many times has Abby said, if you don't like it, don't do it.
Don't do it.
You're out.
Yeah. Now they're all practicing the group and she's not even in there practicing the group. This is the new beginning? You're gonna be a baby?
When Bryn finally calmed down and left the bathroom, Jess yelled at her in front of Abby and 3 other moms for having an anxiety attack. Keep in mind, Bryn was 12 at the time, so Jess was beefing with a middle schooler on national TV. Even if this was staged, this was still pathetic as hell.
Hey, you guys know we're doing the group right now, right? All the other kids are in there doing the group? You're on the team, aren't you? The team's in there dancing.
Why are you coming to her instead of Gianna?
Because Gianna's working with the girls
I know,
and the
but why
boys.
didn't you-
Why aren't you
Gianna
telling her
comes
everyone's in
down
there? Why is this okay?
I didn't know
Why
that.
is she bowling and it's okay?
Because she's beautiful and wonderful and see anybody like her.
You tell her, Jess. You better show that crying child who's boss. When the Abby Lee Dance Company was at the competition, Bryn's duet partner choked right before their number. However, his mother told Abby and the group that Bryn was the one who backed out. And of course, Jess had to talk her shit.
The girl, she don't want to get it.
Bryn?
Yeah,
Oh, she needs to do it.
but she don't want.
They should do it. They're doing it.
I can go try to make my 12-year-old dance. I
Yeah,
don't
because
know.
all these kids in here are waiting.
Everyone's waiting. And
Ridiculous.
Abby clarified that this was a miscommunication. I think she meant lie, but okay. Anyway, Bryn and her duet partner finally took the stage. Even though she tripped at one point, Bryn recovered immediately and continued like a professional. But since Jess needs screen time like humans need food and water, she just had to let everyone know how disappointed she was. As if she's the dance teacher or the judge of the competition, but whatever. Look, I know, this is reality TV. Most of what we see is scripted or edited a certain way to craft a narrative. Staged or not, though, you can't argue that Dance Moms wasn't a grueling experience for all the girls. Although I can't bring up adults bullying children without talking about Abby Lee Miller herself.
We go to the gay club, and who do I see as soon as I get in the door? Abby Lee Miller in her wheelchair.
For 8 seasons of Dance Moms, Abby Lee destroyed children's self-esteem for sport. Unless your name was Maddie Ziegler, then she'd develop an unhealthy obsession with you. If you were anyone else, though, then Abby would throw a chair at you, mock your medical condition, force you to dance through an injury, or downplay your wins as she rubs her star pupils' accomplishments in your face. And heaven forbid you weren't one of her white dancers. Then she'd do all that and also typecast you and ridicule your hairstyle. And those were just the scenes I remembered off the top of my head. If you go back and rewatch, you'll see dozens of instances per episode of Abby being an absolute monster. JoJo was no exception either. She was definitely on the receiving end of Abby's wrath plenty of times. So when JoJo stood up for herself in season 5, episode 7, it was pretty satisfying to watch.
You deserve nothing else. You earn it. You can't stand here and cry. I want no crying children. None.
Well, if you yell at me, I'm gonna cry.
Get out.
I gotta give credit where credit's due. JoJo handled that like a boss lady. Incredible group dance, by the way. Before we continue, I'm gonna warn you that the timeline will be a bit jumbled in the next few sections, but every event and milestone coming up happened within a similar time frame. Concurrently, JoJo began pursuing other ventures like YouTube in 2015. Compared to the tense environment of Dance Moms, JoJo's positivity and enthusiasm in her YouTube videos were welcome changes fans embraced. Her Siwanatorz love getting behind the scenes footage and a glimpse into her daily life. As we've seen in the past though, when a creator commits to daily vlogging, the line between real life and content eventually blurs. An extreme case would be when Logan Paul exploited a suicide victim in a vlog. What JoJo did is nowhere near as egregious as what Logan did, but it's still pretty bad, and I haven't seen a lot of people touch upon this. In July 2017, JoJo posted a now deleted vlog with her brother Jaden, where they claim that their dad was in critical condition after being struck by a bus.
As we were crossing that light, literally, I can't even tell you this, a bus just came flying at us. So now the bus actually knocked my dad to the ground. So now, unfortunately for me right now, my dad is actually in the hospital. He got very badly hurt.
Fans were obviously horrified by the news, but before they could send the Siwas their condolences, JoJo revealed that it was just a prank, bro. Oh, you really thought my dad was dying? Well, I got your ass, stupid bitch. She didn't actually phrase it like that, although that would have been kind of funny if she did.
So basically, this end of the story is we had no clickbait for the vlog. We wanted the views, so we made up a story about a near-death experience. We hope you liked it. So that could be like considered fan fiction, I guess. I mean, that's a good story.
I'm back from Canada.
Hey, what the f***, Mr. Siwa? I'm glad you're alive and all, but why would you let your kids fake your death as a prank? Why are you condoning that behavior? I might be superstitious, but that's not a thought I'd ever want to put out in the universe. Even at JoJo's age, I couldn't imagine joking about losing a parent. Superstitions aside though, this was just a very tasteless and insensitive joke. Given the size of her audience, I'm sure at least one of her fans has lost a loved one to a tragic accident, and I doubt they appreciated the clickbait. As you'd expect, it was not received well by viewers, so JoJo came out and apologized in her next vlog.
Alrighty, well, I have to tell you guys, I'm very sorry for yesterday's video. I know it was a lot of clickbait, and I know some of you are mad at me, but you know what?
I bring this situation up not as an attempt to cancel a 14-year-old JoJo Siwa, but as a way to establish a pattern of attention-seeking behavior, which we will definitely see more of down the line. Other than this minor hiccup, JoJo's vlogs were still popping off, and so were her music videos. Not to spoil anything, but Karma wasn't JoJo's first song. Her initial debut into the music world was in May 2016 with Boomerang, and as of May 2024, it just hit 1 billion views. Hypothetically, 12% of the global population has seen this video. And since we're on the topic of JoJo's early music, is this a safe space to admit that Bop is a bop? Go give it a listen, cause it kinda eats. Boomerang was certainly JoJo's magnum opus in her early career. However, her following music videos were just as successful. But we haven't discussed why JoJo made a YouTube channel. What or who was the driving force behind this decision? Miss Toxic Gossip Train herself, Colleen Ballinger. That's who. The two met in 2015 when JoJo was 12 and Colleen was 29. I'm gonna say that again. JoJo was 12, Colleen was 29. Let's do some quick math. What's 2003 minus 1986? Correct. That would be 17, making Colleen Ballinger 17 years older than JoJo Siwa. Colleen was a senior in high school when JoJo was in utero, to put it in perspective. They're not related in any way, so why the f would an adult woman want to befriend a kid half her age? I find it hard to come up with a non-creepy explanation for that. Colleen Ballinger being weird with minors, this just in, fork found in kitchen. As JoJo explained in an interview with Howie Mandel, the Dance Moms cast, excluding her and Nia, were invited to a party hosted by Todrick Hall. Colleen came dressed as Miranda Sings to surprise the girls, and JoJo and Nia were bummed that they missed out. To make it up to them, Colleen arranged a dinner date with the Siwas and the Frasers. Apparently at this dinner, Colleen gushed over how much she and her family loved doing YouTube, and this motivated JoJo to create her own channel. And a lot of her early videos, at least the ones that are still public, featured Colleen/Miranda Sings. In their very first collab from October 10th, 2016, JoJo taught Miranda how to twerk.
JoJo,
okay.
You cannot do that.
Why not?
That will entice all the people. You cannot be twerking out the body like that.
Well,
You're popping the booty. If you want to dance with your legs spread, you can do that. You just like this, bouncing. If you're bouncing like this, it's better.
But it's my turn to teach.
Hey, what?
Just not realizing your shirt says milk all over it.
Do you not like
You
that?
drink milk?
Yes.
You know that comes from a private part?
Do you know that you drank milk when you were a kid?
No, I did not.
Well, you never were a
If my
kid?
mom tried to make me drink that, I would be like, get away, pervert. I'm not drinking that out of your private.
Whoa!
Oh, that's not...
What am I? Actually, I would like to decipher this. What am I to you?
You are a business opportunity.
Oh.
Okay, now we're just saying the quiet part out loud. I'm jumping a few years ahead, but if you thought that was weird, wait till I tell you about the time Colleen showed JoJo raw footage from her birth.
Is it? When does he come? I think it's coming now.
When's the...
The lack of boundaries between Colleen and JoJo is nauseating, especially knowing what we know in 2024. And I don't want to hear, oh, Miranda was only a character, when recent events have proven that Miranda and Colleen are one and the same. These were just a few of multiple videos they filmed together over the years. Colleen and her sister Rachel Ballinger were by far JoJo's most frequent collaborators on YouTube. And before you ask, yes, that is a real screenshot. No, I don't want to talk about it. There was a point in time when JoJo considered Colleen and Rachel to be two of her best friends. In a video titled Who Knows Me Better with Colleen and Rachel from June 2018, Colleen bragged about how JoJo was closer to her than she was to Rachel.
Yeah, I feel like you will know me better.
I don't know. No, maybe.
No,
I think
I listen better than Colleen.
That's true.
I feel like you'll know me because you're more like me.
But I feel like we're closer.
Yeah.
No offense.
Totally normal thing for two adults to be arguing about who's closer to this child. Me. I'm going to ask again. Why on earth would two grown adults want to be best friends with a minor? And I'm sure this was all innocent on JoJo's end too. I'm not blaming her for wanting to be friends with her idol. However, as the adults in this situation, it was up to Rachel and Colleen to set the appropriate boundaries. Instead, they've exploited their power dynamic with JoJo throughout the entire time they've known her. For now, I'm gonna put a bookmark in this topic, but we will be revisiting the Ballinger sisters later on. But dance moms on YouTube were only the beginning for JoJo. After 2 years of dancing with the ALDC, the Siwas officially left the show. JoJo revisited the studio in season 8, but besides that, she was no longer on the elite team. Viewers were led to believe that the Siwas left because JoJo didn't want to perform a ballet duet with Kendall. What actually triggered the departure was the fact that JoJo signed a contract with Nickel-Jo-deon. Apparently, the dancers' contracts with Lifetime made seeking outside opportunities very difficult. Plus, the Siwas always viewed dance moms as a stepping stone to bigger and better things, so their abrupt exit was inevitable. But before she became Nickel-Jo-deon's starlet, JoJo's talent manager Karen Sterling secured a deal with Claire's at the end of 2015. Establishing JoJo Siwa's trademark, her bows. This could not have been a more fitting partnership. I'm not exaggerating when I say that without Karen Sterling, JoJo Siwa, the brand, wouldn't be the bedazzled business empire it is today. Claire's did a test run in spring 2016 to see how JoJo's signature bows would sell in stores, and to call it a commercial success would be a downplay. Not only were JoJo's bows one of Claire's best-selling items ever, but they also saved Claire's from financial ruin. To quote Claire's executive Julie Splendoria, JoJo came at such a critical moment in time, knowing that kids were so influenced by their phones. According to Splendoria, revenue from the JoJo partnership has exceeded all historical best-selling brands and artists for Claire's. I think it really did set the stage for retailers to get behind social media stars in a major way. For the next few years, JoJo bows were a must-have item in every tween girl's wardrobe, much to the dismay of some adults. Several primary schools across the UK banned these bows because they didn't comply with the dress code. One mother told The Telegraph that JoJo's bows were banned at her daughter's school because the girls would get competitive with each other, like who has the most bows, who has the limited edition ones, etc. Ironically enough, 8 years later, their mom would become obsessed with Stanley Cups. Oh, how the turntables. JoJo's astronomical success caught Nickel-Jo-deon's attention, so they signed her on for an overall talent deal. They were determined to make JoJo the newest teen star. I guess Jess's efforts to make her the next Hannah Montana paid off. JoJo's first ever special with Nickel-Jo-deon, JoJo Siwa My World, launched on August 12, 2017. This was a 22-minute documentary about JoJo's rise to fame. She also appeared in other Nickelodeon shows like The Thundermans, SpongeBob, and the School of Rock TV series no one asked for. Look, I'm as progressive as they come, but sometimes tradition isn't always a bad thing. Hollywood in general needs to stop taking advantage of our nostalgia to make a worse version of something that existed fine on its own. And while we're on the subject, can you name one person who has done more for the lesbian community than Katie from the OG School of Rock? I'll wait. While JoJo's acting venture was just budding, her music career was in full blossom. In fall 2018, JoJo announced Dream, the tour, set to begin in 2019 following the releases of her 2 EPs, Dream the Music and Celebrate. Spanning across 3 continents, JoJo performed a total of 132 shows, and she was the youngest artist to play at the O2 Arena, which is really cool. Capitalizing on her commercial success, Nickelodeon released their first product with JoJo, the JoJo Siwa singing doll. According to JoJo on her mom's podcast a few years later, they sold over 100,000 units of this doll alone. And that release was followed by more dolls, more bows, backpacks, jewelry, slime, a drink, jewelry, blankets, potato. If that wasn't enough JoJo for you, she also opened a clothing line with Target called JoJo's Closet, where fans can wear outfits she's worn on stage. In short, go on Google and type JoJo Siwa followed by an item name, and odds are it probably exists. Though she was signed with Nickel-Jo-deon, JoJo was still working with Claire's. However, in 2019, Claire's issued a voluntary recall of a JoJo Siwa makeup kit due to testing positive for asbest-Jos contamination. This product included eyeshadows, compact powder, and lip gloss. Asbestos is a natural mineral, but exposure can cause a number of health conditions in humans, such as asbestosis, lung cancer, and mesothelioma. In other words, you don't want that shit anywhere near your mouth or eyes. Obviously, this was the manufacturer's fault, not JoJo's, but as the face of the brand, it was her responsibility to address the recall. Recently, it's been brought to my attention that there's been a problem with one of my products in Claire's stores. I just want to let everyone know that no matter what, safety is myself and Nickel-Jo-deon's #1 priority in everything, in every product, and everything out there. JoJo went on to note that they are working hard to make sure that the makeup set is off the shelves entirely and that anyone who has purchased the product can be issued a refund regardless of whether or not the set was opened or used. I just wanted to let you guys know the situation, JoJo continued. Thank you for understanding because it is serious to me, and it means a lot to me. It is my name, my brand, and it is my face, quite literally. Personally, I thought JoJo's statement was solid. While I'm sure having your product recalled by the FDA is stressful, JoJo handled this PR nightmare as best as she could have. What, too soon? But in the late 2010s, you could not walk into a major retailer without seeing JoJo's face plastered on everything. No consumer was safe from the JoJo Siwification of the free market. Not even drivers were spared because for Christmas in 2018, she was gifted a custom-wrapped BMW with her face all over it, and this would be the first of many Siwified supercars. Looking back, this is high camp, I fear, but not everyone saw the vision. When JoJo showed off her new ride on Instagram, Justin Bieber commented "burn it" 3 times under her post. Then, a couple weeks later, he took a picture of JoJo's book with the same caption. Was this the silliest celebrity beef of all time? Yeah, I'd say so. Was it also super weird to watch a 25-year-old tease a 15-year-old online? Yeah, I'd say so. Justin did apologize for his comments, saying, "I have nothing against you. It was the car and the colors I didn't like. I really hope you didn't think it was malicious or mean-spirited." However, most were unapologetic in their contempt for JoJo. While she did become overexposed as the years went on, the vicious hate JoJo received growing up was totally uncalled for. Adults online in particular picked on her for every little thing, mainly her clothing, hair, voice inflections, and childlike demeanor. If I had $1 for every joke I've read about JoJo's poor hairline, I'd be just as rich as her. But really, how hard was it to understand that she was a kid making content for other kids? Her stuff was never intended for you. This led to speculation as to why JoJo presented the way she did, because you don't often see teenagers dressed in sequined outfits and glittery makeup. Especially on the internet, there's an innate pressure on teen girls to grow up too fast, and kids that age want to fit in with their peers as best they can. They don't want to be the odd one out. But JoJo broke that mold. She embraced rainbows, unicorns, and all things sparkly, while most teens would deem this stuff uncool. So people took this and hypothesized as to why JoJo kept up her childlike image. The most popular theory being that she was trying to hold on to her youth. You know, JoJo spent most of her developmental years performing, and this was her way of reclaiming her childhood. While this could be true, JoJo has said in the past that she loved her look and she wanted to be a positive role model for children. In a tweet from that same year, JoJo reposted this Facebook status from a fan's mother. I'm gonna go on a small rant here because I've seen people make fun of this girl many times because she's acting too young. JoJo Siwa, I don't know too much about her, but all 3 of my girls love her. She's 15 years old and a face of Nickel-Jo-deon. She is also a spokesperson for Michael's Arts and Crafts store. There are grown women on some of her posts just trashing her because of the way she acts. Let me just say this. There's another pretty popular 15-year-old girl in the spotlight who is a rapper, Danielle Bergoli. She is also 15. She has also publicly disrespected her mother, danced half naked on the internet, dresses like she's grown, etc. So just my personal opinion, I would much rather have the girls love JoJo than Bad Baby. And people wonder why the kids these days act the way they do. People like JoJo are made fun of for being young, while people like the Catch Me Outside girl makes millions being a delinquent. To which JoJo said, "This post means so much to me. Thank you, Nicole, for writing this. I love being a positive role model, and I want everyone to know it's okay to be a kid and to not worry about growing up so fast. To everyone who supports me, I love you." Meanwhile, Bad Baby was not thrilled about catching strays from this random Facebook mom, and she replied with, "Suck my d." So, looking back, it's concerning to see how many adults were obsessed with JoJo, for better or worse. Whereas some were mocking JoJo for literally being a child, and others were doing this.
Ooh, JoJo gets me taught! I'm JoJo King. Wow. I know. See what I did there? Hold the drama. That was aggressive. I'm sorry. I just got excited.
But should we really be surprised? Similar to Colleen, the two became collaborators and good friends. Shane even invited JoJo to perform for him and Ryland at their house. Ooh, that's a Dateline episode, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only. I'm sure clout was a huge motivator behind their collab. JoJo had her finger on the pulse of young people at the time, and we all know how Shane allegedly feels about young people. In a hypothetical sense, of course. In all seriousness, a lot of YouTubers who cater to a younger audience during that period saw JoJo's skyrocketing popularity, and they wanted a piece of the pie. JoJo was more than happy to work with them, so it was a symbiotic relationship of sorts. But my point still stands. As an adult, there's no reason to befriend a teenager half your age. Need to get that tattooed on my forehead at this rate. Given Shane's history of interactions with minors on camera, I would not feel comfortable leaving my 15-year-old around him, but that's just me. Let me be clear though, I'm not accusing Shane of anything. My criticisms are based on what information is available to the public. But coming to Tana Moja's defense after she got criticized for dressing as Ho-Ho Siwa for Halloween did not help his case. Tana justified her actions by saying she wasn't intentionally sexualizing JoJo. According to her, she was going for a costume with the same vibe as a sexy schoolgirl or a sexy Girl Scout. Tana shot herself in the foot with that explanation, in my opinion, because a sexy version of anything child-related is creepy. But JoJo was fine with the costume, so that made it all better. No, it didn't. Obviously. JoJo was still underage, so that wasn't really her call to make. Again, the adults around her were responsible for setting the appropriate boundaries. Now, we can't talk about inappropriate boundaries without mentioning James Charles. In case you're unaware, James Charles has a minor problem. Literally. Ooh, that might get me sister sued. Anyway, in 2021, James admitted to sexting 2 boys under the age of 18, and many more alleged victims have come forward since. When James and JoJo gave each other makeovers in August 2020, mid-quarantine mind you, we weren't aware of these allegations. However, in the year prior, James was accused of being too, forward with the straight men in his life, namely Grayson Dolan.
A sleeping bag so you can be warm and cozy with me in it. And camping and just like nature and then being with the wild. Okay, it's good enough. I love a good load. And okay. I am pretty hungry, but can you just like bang me instead?
My first wish would be for my dear friend James to get a boyfriend so I can get a little bit more personal space.
Right, but I don't do relationships.
Oh, you don't? Okay, well, I was really hoping. that could happen. Okay,
It's 2024 though, so what's JoJo's excuse now? And what's her excuse for continuing to defend Abby Lee Miller? JoJo's time on Dance Moms was shorter than the other girls, so maybe she's not as traumatized. Plus, she and Jess always viewed the show as a launch pad to bring her career to new heights. But the OG dancers were with the Abby Lee Dance Company since they were toddlers, so they endured Abby's abuse for much longer. Not saying anyone's trauma here is more valid than the others, but let's remember that. But if you've ever watched Dance Moms, you can understand why the OGs want nothing to do with Abby. For example, in spring 2020, Brooke Hyland shaded Abby on TikTok after she saw her former dance teacher pop up as a suggested friend on Facebook.
Facebook telling me I have a new friend suggestion.
Granted, this was a little petty, but considering the amount of cruelty Brooke experienced on national TV, I think Abby can handle a shady TikTok or two. Though if you ask JoJo, Abby is the true victim in all this. On Brooke's TikTok, she commented, "It's one thing to just not at her back. It's another to post it," she wrote. In an Us Weekly article posted the previous weekend, JoJo said this. "I actually talked to Abby the most out of anybody from the show," she said. "She's great. I think Abby got hurt by a lot of people, and it's really, really, really sad that a lot of the people don't talk to her anymore." She continued saying, "It's just sad because Abby is a really good person. Even though you see her yelling and screaming at children on TV, like, Abby made 7 stars. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for her. Maddie and Mackenzie Ziegler wouldn't be where they are today without Abby." Does JoJo really believe that years of documented trauma from your childhood are worth the price of fame? This is like when a parent gives their kid basic necessities only to throw it back in their face when they're angry. We can't deny that Abby was a huge proponent in the girls' careers, but wasn't that her job? To train her students to dance well because she's their dance teacher? And you know what wasn't her job? Bullying those same students on national TV, no less. You could also argue that Abby wouldn't be where she is today without the girls because they were the real reason people tuned in. And while we're being honest, was it Abby who made the girls stars, or was it Lifetime? Though Abby provided the training to help the girls pursue a dance career, Lifetime gave them the platform. We can go back and forth on the technicalities all day, but the bottom line is, just because Abby did one nice thing, that doesn't rule out the pain and the abuse she inflicted on her dancers. While I'm disappointed that JoJo hasn't expressed more empathy for her former castmates, deep down she probably knows that acknowledging their trauma would force her to acknowledge her own potential trauma. Meanwhile, JoJo remained close friends with the Ballinger sisters, and yeah, their relationship was still just as weird. Certainly nothing can top Colleen showing JoJo uncensored footage from her birth, but this next clip is definitely up there.
She pulled the minor card.
Because what? I said I wouldn't. I don't remember what I even said.
I don't know. It was like, because you're a kid. And I was like, Rachel?
I was like, when you're 18, we'll cuddle or something. Okay, wait, hold on. You're gonna gloss over this? That you told JoJo Siwa, when you're 18, we'll cuddle? Is this the new scandal of 2019?
No. Little did Colleen know that she'd be in the center of a scandal very soon. 6 months later, on April 28th, 2020, YouTuber Adam McIntyre uploaded Colleen Ballinger, Stop Lying. He detailed the inappropriate relationship between him and Colleen that went on for years. Adam became a fan of Colleen/Miranda in 2012 and ran a couple fan pages on Instagram and Twitter dedicated to the Ballinger family. The two became acquainted in 2016 when Adam was 13 and Colleen was 30. First JoJo, now Adam. Damn it, Colleen, can you at least let these kids graduate middle school? As their friendship progressed, Colleen continued to take advantage of their power dynamic. It's impossible for there not to be one, because Adam was the minor and Colleen was the adult. For example, she disclosed private details of her romantic life to Adam.
I've been told so much private information about the divorce, but I won't get into that in this video because I feel it's unnecessary, but all the parties involved know that I have it. This information was always really hard to hear and digest as a 13 to 14-year-old because I was always led to believe that Jocelyn were the couple that I should have looked up to. In the vlogs, they were always really happy, so going from a sudden shift of idolizing Jocelyn, I had Jocelyn merch, from that to them being told all this really information about the ex-husband really just It affected me back then, and I'm not gonna lie.
Colleen also pressed him to scour gossip sites to find scoop on her ex-husband, Joshua David Evans. Why she decided to seek solace in a teenager? I can't answer that. The true kicker was a live stream hosted by Colleen and her best friend / personal assistant Corey DeSoto in 2016. The friends were opening packages and they thought it would be funny to send Adam a lingerie set.
Your Twitter account is making me laugh so much. Oh my god, that makes me laugh. I want to send him something. Do you want the bra, Adam?
Do you want the brown panties? Tweet right now.
Oh my god. Yeah, Adam, let me know what you want. He's in Ireland. Hi, Adam. Okay. I'm sending him something. Okay, maybe he'll want the panties. Although then his parents will be like, you're not allowed to watch who's sending you panties. He's like, Mom, don't worry. I watched your boy wear them online first.
Adam's parents were understandably pissed that a grown woman sent their underage son a bra and panties. I mean, what parent wouldn't freak out? In the following year, Adam became Colleen's social media intern, so to say. She asked Adam to run the Miranda Sings Twitter page to help the dying character stay relevant. That's right, Colleen hired a 15-year-old to run her social media, and Adam wasn't even officially hired because he received zero compensation. It all came to a boil in March 2020 when Miranda Sings came out as a Meghan Trainor fan. Rumor has it that Meghan Trainor actually threw the first brick at Stonewall. Colleen was called out for making a mockery of the LGBTQ+ community, so she took the post down. Slowly, she put the blame on Adam, which is hilarious to me. Like, I'm sorry, aren't you the one exploiting a teenager? And this triggered the fallout between Adam and Colleen. After Adam published his video, lots of fans were upset with Colleen and demanded she take accountability. I should mention that around this same time, 2 of Colleen's older videos resurfaced. One was a video of her and Rachel playing racist caricatures of Latina women, and the other was a story time of Colleen body-shaming a fat passenger on a plane.
She works at the drive-thru at Del Taco. You know how the guys go loco. You can tell that she's new when she's working the drive-thru.
She walks on and I'm like, please don't sit next to me, please don't sit next to me. And I turn around and there are no open seats on the plane. So of course she comes and sits right next to me and on me. And her like fat rolls are like rolling over onto me.
And I believe Colleen was in her early to mid 20s when these were posted, which makes it even more embarrassing. A couple weeks later, Colleen responded to the accusations in a vlog called Addressing Everything. She opened with an apology for the racist skit and fatphobic comments. Then she attempted to explain the context of sending lingerie to a minor. I hate to break it to her, but there's absolutely no way you can spin that in a positive light. She sure tried though and claimed that it was just a joke. It always is, huh? I sent him a bra and panties, but it was just a joke, guys. No, he's not my boyfriend. He was 15. It was a joke, though. It was in the past. Next, Colleen alleged that she never blamed Adam for the Meghan Trainor controversy, but she admitted that she should have paid more attention to the content Adam was putting out.
It absolutely breaks my heart to see people saying negative things about me interacting with my fans based on this situation. I love talking to my fans. I love interacting with my fans. My fans are many different ages. So yes, there are some teenagers, but there's also adults.
Damn, it would be a shame if that clip aged poorly. Viewers' initial frustration with Colleen seemed to disappear overnight. She was officially absolved of her sins, at least in her fandom's eyes. I know this drama had nothing to do with JoJo, but it is important context for when she eventually gets involved. Though JoJo was also in a bit of hot water at this time due to her new card game. Based on her Q&A series from YouTube, JoJo's Juice was a spin on Truth or Dare, but Siwa-fied, of course. The Siwification of the free market never ends. However, parents noticed that some of the questions were rather odd for a game marketed to children. Have you ever taken money from someone's purse or wallet without asking? Rub noses with the person on your left. Oh. Have you ever walked in on someone naked or had someone walk in on you? Do your best JoJo impression. Have you ever gone outside without underwear? A bathing suit doesn't count. Yeah, not quite the conversations you'd want to initiate with your 9-year-old, huh? After being alerted by numerous parents across social media, JoJo addressed the inappropriate questions on TikTok. She explained that not every single detail is run by her, and this must have slipped through the cracks. Behind the scenes, she was working with Nickel-Jo-deon to take the game off off the shelves.
Hope you all know that I would have never, ever, ever approved or agreed to be associated with this game if I would have seen these cards before they started selling it. I love you all so much. Thank you for bringing this to my attention so that way I could put a stop to it and I could get it fixed immediately. I love you all so much and I hope you have an awesome 2021.
If this is also your first time hearing about the JoJo's Juice controversy, I wouldn't be surprised because it'd soon be overshadowed by some other news.
But I always believed that like my person was just gonna be my person. And if that person happened to be a boy, great. And if that person happened to be a girl, great. And yeah, I think I'm just really happy. And I think that I'm really happy.
Yep, JoJo Siwa is queer. A jomosexual, if you will. Initially, JoJo didn't label herself, but she eventually came out as gay. One of us, one of us, one of us, one of us. Though I never paid much attention to JoJo before she came out, I thought it was so cool that the kids now had a positive LGBTQ+ icon to look up to. And fans and non-fans alike were absolutely thrilled for her. However, just a month later, DaBaby released a freestyle remix and name-dropped JoJo in his song. Listeners thought DaBaby was dissing her, but he clarified that it was just a play on words and mentioned that his daughter is a big fan. In that same month on The Tonight Show, JoJo revealed that she was dating another woman for the first time named Kylie Prue. According to JoJo, Kylie encouraged her to post the tweet confirming her sexuality because there had been speculation up until this point.
I was like, you know what I realized? How risky that was. And she was like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, well, technically, that was a really big risk that I took posting that. But I was like, but honestly, and she was like, why? Because you could have lost everything? And I was like, yeah. But if I lost everything that I've created because of being myself and because of loving who I want to love, I don't want it. That's not what I want if I can't love who I want to love. That's one of the most important things to me.
One thing about the gays, we know how to do a hard launch. This kicked off a new era for JoJo Siwa. She was turning 18 and figuring herself out. She ditched the hair bows and started dressing, as some would say, more age-appropriate. Don't get me wrong though, her outfits still had a flair of JoJo to them, they were just more refined. As JoJo opened up about her sexuality and coming out story, she slowly became more unfiltered, like in this podcast episode with Rachel Ballinger.
Hey, you're the bottom, I'm the top, but we don't have to stare at that the whole time.
I am a bottom and you...
Am I?
I am.
No, I know, but you're like, and you're out. I was like,
You're a bottom.
I'm a switch.
Okay.
But, you know, there's always a slight preference.
It always leads back to the Ballingers. Weird, huh? Never did I ever expect to be talking about JoJo Siwa being a bottom on this Christian channel. But here we are. JoJo was 18, a legal adult by this point, so she was free to talk about her sex life as she pleased. I'm all for normalizing those kind of conversations. However, considering what we know about JoJo's friendship with the Ballinger sisters, hearing her and Rachel talk about sex makes me feel a bit icky. And I'm not accusing Rachel of anything, by the way, just sharing my thoughts as an outsider looking in, and my thoughts are that this was weird. Very, very weird. As JoJo transitioned from a bedazzled walking billboard to a young adult coming into her own, she was attracting a more mature audience. Her fan base went from being a sea of kids to the 20-something girls and gays of TikTok. Quite a major jump. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, JoJo said, "Being called a gay icon, honestly, I think is the biggest honor. About a year ago, I started having all these music meetings just for fun, just getting my head where I want to go. And I told the producers, I want to create gay pop, and I want to have a concert for the girls and for the gays. Turns out a year later, I am very much so gay. Little did she know." And she actually made LGBTQ history in her first year as an out and proud queer woman. In the 13th season of Dancing with the Stars, JoJo and her dance partner Jenna Johnson were the first same-sex duo to ever compete, and they came in second place. JoJo's been performing since she could walk, so no surprise that she did well. As we know though, second is the first to lose. The world was JoJo's oyster in 2021. Sadly, all good things must come to an end. JoJo and Kylie broke up for the first time in October of that year, but a couple months later, JoJo was rumored to be dating a new girl named Katie Mills. They were spotted at a Lakers game and filmed a few TikToks together, but their relationship status was unconfirmed. But then, screenshots from Katie's other social media began circulating, and fans found out that Katie partook in cultural appropriation and shared pro-Trump posts. She also liked a transphobic comment on Twitter, allegedly. A few days after all this was uncovered, Katie took to Twitter and apologized for her past mistakes. And if you could believe it, she pulled the "I have a black friend" card almost immediately. But she also said that she grew up in a Mormon family who sent her to conversion therapy when she was 13 and was brainwashed into hating the LGBTQ+ community. And on that same day, U-Haul lost 2 potential customers because JoJo announced she was single again. The relationship began as quickly as it ended. Like I mentioned earlier, JoJo didn't label her sexuality at first, but in 2022, she officially came out as a gay woman. Sorry, I forgot you can't say the L word around JoJo. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, check out her interview with Yahoo Life.
I don't like the word itself. It's just like lesbian. It's just like a lot. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I am. So it's like, it just is, it's like the word moist. It's just like, ugh.
Not to play devil's advocate or dare I say, be a centrist, but I get why some people would be hesitant about the lesbian label. Our community is so fetishized by straight men that lesbian has become synonymous with in some circles. This is only one example, but on Reddit, the largest lesbian subreddit is and I'm sure you can guess what the main demographic is. Many fans felt that JoJo's public disgust with the term lesbian fed into the negativity already surrounding the word, even if it was unintentional. Yet again, gonna play devil's advocate, but I think people were way too harsh on JoJo for this. I can't speak for all lesbians, so feel free to disagree. As someone who's been in the community for a hot minute, I know that most queer people deal with some level of internalized homophobia, especially at the beginning of their coming out journey. JoJo was publicly out for only a year at the time, so it's not hard to believe that she would have been struggling with self-acceptance. A week later, JoJo clarified her comments from the Yahoo Life interview.
Okay, I've been going through my comments and I just want to make something super clear. I never said that lesbian was a dirty word, and I never ever would say that it's a dirty word because it is not. It is not a bad word, it is not a slur, and it is especially not a word that I am ashamed of saying or ashamed of identifying as by any means.
She later explained that she didn't like the sound of the word lesbian, not the term itself. So there's that. I think everyone's entitled to navigate their identity at their own pace, but most of us have the luxury of doing so privately. Meanwhile, Jess was behind the scenes concocting her and JoJo's next big business move, XOMG Pop. The Siwas wanted to create the next pop girl group, hopefully to rival Kids Bop. They set out to find their ideal members through a new reality show called Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution, where 11 girls would compete each week to earn a spot in the group, and thousands of hopeful dancers across the country sent in audition tapes. The 7 finalists made their performance debut on The Ellen Show on December 23rd, 2021. You're probably thinking, isn't this just Dance Moms 2.0? Well, yes. Jess might as well change her name to Jessie Lee Miller. Now that JoJo was getting older and aging out of her younger audience, there was a gap in the market for a bedazzled teen idol. So what's better than one bedazzled teen idol? 7 bedazzled teen idols. In 2022, XOMG Pop would go on to release more music and be the opening act for JoJo's Dream Tour. And on May 25th, 2022, the group announced that they would be on the 17th season of America's Got Talent. Their audition was featured in the season premiere on May 31st. Sadly, they did not make it past the semifinals, and a month later, fans noticed that Kaya wasn't in any of the group photos anymore. Allegedly, she was fired from XOMG Pop. Then, 3 more members left within a year after Kaya's sudden departure. I swear, their turnover rate was ridiculous, but no one knew why. For now. This trend of separations also seeped into JoJo's romantic life. She and Kylie got back together in May 2022, but they broke up for the final time a month later. And it just so happened that their split coincided with 3 other huge lesbian breakups on TikTok, and this phenomenon would later be called the lesbian apocalypse. We'll mostly be focused on this couple, Avery Cyrus and Soph Mosca. After 2 years together, Avery and Soph broke up just weeks after Kylie confirmed that she and JoJo were no longer together. But a few days later, JoJo and Avery uploaded a very flirty mukbang to TikTok. Though they had been friends for a while, the tension was palpable, which fans found suspicious because they both just left their long-term partners. I think you can see where this is going. Viewers noticed a blue stain on JoJo's cheek, which just so happened to match the blue ice cream Avery was eating in the clip before it. Suspicious. In the following weeks, the rumored couple was frequently spotted together, and they weren't hiding their affection too well. While JoJo and Avery didn't disclose their relationship status, they still had fun teasing their audiences.
We're friends.
Purely platonic. What's so fun?
I don't know.
The way lesbian TikTok was so invested in this drama was insane. You truly had to be there. But we finally got some confirmation when JoJo posted this TikTok with Avery at the fine establishment of Charles Entertainment Cheese. History would say they're just friends. Meanwhile, Soph was flying to LA to meet the new person she was seeing. After some detective work, fans matched the disembodied hand on Soph's shoulder to Alyssa Carrington, another influencer who broke up with their partner during the lesbian apocalypse. While in LA, Soph and Alyssa went to some queer TikToker event together, which coincidentally was the same event JoJo and Avery were attending. I mean, seeing your ex all cuddly with the person they left you for, now that sounds like a party. Based on photos and videos from that night, viewers could definitely tell there was an us versus them vibe. And unfortunately for Soph, Avery got their influencer friend group in the divorce. Fans felt that JoJo, Avery, and their clique acted like high school mean girls that night, cause they kinda did. At least to me, it seemed like Soph and Alyssa were purposely excluded from that group. A few weeks later, Soph and Alyssa's situationship fizzled, but JoJo and Avery were still going strong. They became official in October 2022 and lived happily ever after for a whole 2 months. Avery cited that the reason they broke up was because they're young and trying to figure things out, but they'd still remain friends. However, that wouldn't last long.
Why are you mad? Why are you mad?
Because I got used.
For what?
For views.
Aww.
And for clout. And I got tricked into being told that I was loved. And I got fucking played!
Avery refuted this in an exclusive statement to E! News. From my perspective, me and JoJo left on great terms and are still friends. The relationship was very real and I have nothing but love for JoJo and her family. The 22-year-old added at the time, I'm still very hurt that JoJo broke up with me and I'm saddened and confused by the situation. It just so happened that Jess posted this Instagram story the same week Avery and Soph announced that they were going on a non-refundable trip to Europe together. So maybe that could have triggered JoJo's emotional reaction? Who could blame her though? Breakups suck on their own, but if I saw my ex on vacation with the person they dated before me weeks after our breakup, I'd also lose my mind. But seeing how JoJo and Avery's relationship came to be, is this another case of what goes around comes around? Or as some would say, karma? They do say you lose them how you got them. I don't know though, that's between them and the universe. I think we'd all agree that this should not have been shared on the internet. Jess has turned her daughter's life into a circus act, but she couldn't respect JoJo's privacy this one time. Now, would I be shocked if this was staged? No. The Siwas aren't known for their subtlety. However, assuming this was genuine, it was pretty shitty of Jesselyn to share such a vulnerable moment of her daughter. I can only watch this clip so many times because I feel like I'm intruding. I fear JoJo's breakup with Avery was her Joker moment. Joker. moment. Sorry, I'll cool it with the puns. The more JoJo's attention-seeking antics intensified, the more she fell out of favor with the new audience she'd garnered since coming out. From this moment forward, I just want to shake this woman and ask JoJo, have you learned nothing? Besides her infamous TikTok thirst traps, JoJo was also posting photos holding her belly on Snapchat. Based on the hand placement and her stomach bulge, viewers wondered whether or not JoJo was pregnant. She wasn't, obviously, but she leaned into the rumor quite a bit. JoJo then posted a number of photos shopping for diapers, doing a baby clothes haul, and posing with the father of her baby. JoJo's fake pregnancy rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Many users felt like JoJo was being insensitive to couples struggling with infertility. It's very reminiscent of the dead dad joke from earlier. She used a traumatic event a lot of people go through as the punchline. To JoJo's credit, she reported to Business Insider that she was giving away baby clothes and accessories to expectant parents in her audience, which, if true, was awesome. But her good deed was kind of spoiled by the fact that this was the wrong way to go about it. It's childish, it's being edgy just to be edgy. She really took the Matt Rife approach to dark humor. It was cheap, distasteful, and lazy. Pregnancy Gate also happened around the time JoJo spilled some tea or dumped some slime on her former employer, Nickel-Jo-deon, or so people thought, because JoJo wasn't invited to the Kids' Choice Awards in the year she came out. Nickel-Jo-deon claimed that this was an honest mistake. On March 22nd, 2023, JoJo alleged that a company she worked for did not react well to her coming out. The president of this company was supposedly concerned about what JoJo would tell the kids in her audience, to which she replied, the truth. While this did anger him, JoJo refused to hide her true identity anymore. However, Nickel-Jo-deon vehemently denied the accusation, saying, "We are unaware of what incident or meeting JoJo is referencing, but it certainly did not happen at Nickel-Jo-deon. We have valued and supported JoJo since day one of our relationship together, and we still do today." In fact, JoJo released a Pride collection with them just over a month later, so I think that would rule them out. And to this day, we still don't know what company JoJo was referring to. JoJo was adamant on sharing her truth at this time because not too long after, JoJo accused her exes of love bombing and clout chasing on TikTok with an Abby Lee Miller audio to boot. It's pretty obvious who this video was directed at. By this point, the resentment between JoJo and Avery was obvious, but soon a new challenger would approach to defend Avery. And who would that be? JoJo's second ex, Katie Mills.
I'm done being quiet. You hold a lot of power, you and your platform. How can you tell someone that you loved them and then ghost them the next day and then post all over the internet that we're clout chasers and love bombers? I don't get it.
Katie alleged that JoJo sent her and Avery through hell for months and that she knew she was full of shit.
Weren't you the one that decided that we needed to go to the Hollywood Boulevard, Disney, and the Lakers game? That wasn't my idea. And anytime I posted something, I asked for your permission first. And I have the text receipts to prove it, so don't come at me with saying that we were clout chasers.
At the end of her video, Katie accused JoJo of purposely reigniting the drama months later to send her fans after her exes. While crazy superfans are always going to act like crazy superfans, many were waiting to hear Avery's side of the story. Avery was keeping quiet, but it was only a matter of time until the other shoe dropped. On that note, I think now is the time to address the elephant in the room. Hey JoJo, why are we still friends with some of YouTube's biggest creeps in 2023? Shane's problematic past of blackface, pedophilia jokes, and sexualizing minors and animals on camera had been common knowledge.
First of all, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like, she's like sexy. She's like sexy.
You're disgusting.
In addition, many teenage boys and men had come forward with inappropriate messages allegedly sent by James Charles, both from before and after his confession.
It sucks, and it is ridiculously embarrassing to admit this, but I think I have to, and that is that I'm desperate.
Miles-long receipts and entire video catalogs of their awful, creepy behavior mean nothing to JoJo apparently because she still willingly associates with them. I love how Shane titled his video My Day with JoJo Siwa even though she only made an appearance at the very end. Sorry Shane, yapping in your driveway next to JoJo's Siwa-fied supercar for 10 minutes does not constitute a day spent together. And in James and JoJo's most recent collab, they exchanged credit cards for a day. So if you're into watching two insufferable rich people spend thousands of dollars, this is the video for you. However, JoJo's unwavering allegiance to Colleen friggin Ballinger frustrated viewers the most. Last spring, multiple victims came forward with allegations against Colleen, and they had some pretty damning evidence. Also, can you believe it's been a year already? These allegations include, but are not limited to, inappropriate communication with underage fans, i.e. asking about their virginities, forcing a teen girl's legs open on stage, performing in blackface, and cheating on her ex-husband with her co-star, and I'm barely scratching the surface. I don't have time to go through every single detail of Colleen's major cancellation. Thankfully though, there are plenty of videos that break down the whole controversy, so I'd recommend watching one of those. Anyway, as more and more receipts came out, Colleen was nowhere to be found, and that only made her look more guilty. She was silent until June 28th, 2023, the day she uploaded the apology video heard around the world.
Hi everyone. I've been wanting to come online and talk to you about a few things. Even though my team has strongly advised me to not say what I want to say, I recently realized that they never said that I couldn't sing what I want to say. So, all aboard the toxic gossip train.
Where were you when Toxic Gossip Train dropped? The internet collectively roasting Colleen for her piss-poor apology for weeks was quite possibly the closest we'll ever get to world peace.
The only thing I've ever groomed is my 2 Persian cats. I'm not a groomer. I'm just a loser.
No, Colleen, you're a groomer and a loser. Let's make that very clear. Amidst it all, JoJo was still posting like crazy on TikTok and Snapchat, but she stayed mum on the accusations against her colleague and close friend. Now that Colleen's predatory behavior had been exposed, old clips of her and JoJo were seen in a new light, and viewers picked up on some similarities between the way Colleen interacted with her underage fans and the way she interacted with JoJo. And I've included a few examples throughout the video. Colleen's been called the female Shane Dawson for years, and maybe that's for a reason, because a lot of users believe that JoJo was also a victim of her grooming. But I don't think JoJo knows that. Her interview on the Howie Mandel Does Stuff podcast was very eye-opening. This was the one and only time JoJo publicly addressed the allegations against Colleen. First, Howie asked JoJo how young she was when she met Colleen for the first time.
I would imagine if you're friends with her, you kind of met her when you were young.
I was 12 when I met her.
And
she's always been nothing but kind to me. Her family, nothing but kind to me.
And therein lies the problem, because adults should not be friends with children. It worries me that JoJo doesn't see this as a problem.
The internet can take a lie and run so far with it, so far, that it's to the point where you just can't do anything about it.
Clearly, that was shade at Adam McIntyre. It is wild for JoJo to say that the victims are lying when there is documentation of Colleen's predatory behavior via screenshots, clips from Miranda Singh's live shows, and even videos Colleen uploaded to her own YouTube channels. JoJo herself is in a lot of this incriminating footage. After commending Colleen for her creativity and all she's done for YouTube, JoJo complained that it's very hard to be a comedian in the present day because you can't say anything anymore. Everyone's offended by everything nowadays. The woke mob won't even let you groom kids in peace anymore. Howie moved on to ask JoJo how she feels about setting boundaries with fans.
I don't think that communicating with fans is... You got to be careful to not
what I'm saying,
to not blur a friend-fan line.
Then Howie pointed out again that Colleen befriended her when she was only 12 years old. You could tell he's trying to break it gently to JoJo, but totally going over her head.
And here's my question to you. Regardless of judging whatever specifically is being said that was happening, And I'm just saying this as a parent again. You said you started communicating with her when you were 12.
Then, according to JoJo, a lot of her friends have been canceled in a similar matter. So you're saying your adult friends who befriended you when you were a minor were later exposed for being predatory with minors. There can't possibly be a correlation there.
You must have really young people reaching out to you now.
I mean, I do, and it's funny. Like, I realized when I hit 18, I was like, oh, this is different now. Like, because you know, you're young and you're dumb, and I was like, I need to be very careful about this.
Like, I know, like, her daughter's 9.
Yeah.
If she could right now, and she
Write
watches
to you and talk to you, like
she would,
yeah.
and she would love to be your friend and love to be online.
So you agree? Talking to underage fans is weird.
The difference with Colleen and I is we were once. I became her friend, and she became my friend, and she became somebody that I looked up to. She became somebody that I idolized. She became somebody that I was like, wow, this person is a hard worker. She's a genius. She's a very strong YouTuber, and I idolize that.
Yeah, it takes a real genius to slap on some red lipstick and make fun of autistic people. Comedy is dead. I'd like to take this moment to say, rest in peace, Miranda. You will certainly not be missed. Let's break this down, though. Colleen, 29, befriended JoJo, 12, when JoJo was a huge fan who idolized her for years prior. They formed a deep friendship and even worked together quite a bit. Does that sound familiar to anyone else?
I think the problem is the internet was able to capitalize off of her cancellation, and they still are, and they still are continuing to, and it's not okay because a lot of it is based off of lies.
Despite being extra snarky to JoJo the past few minutes, I feel for her. I truly do. However, it's so aggravating to watch her invalidate the experiences of Colleen's victims when really they all went through the same thing. I don't know if it's because JoJo's oblivious to the facts since this behavior was so normalized for her, or she refuses to put 2 and 2 together because that would cause her whole life to unravel. Either way, it's very tragic, and none of those kids deserve what Colleen put them through. But this interview got the internet riled up. Any favorability JoJo had left was disappearing faster than you could say toxic gossip train. Former friends of Colleen's even spoke out against JoJo, including Trisha Paytas, but she'd already been vocal for months because she was a victim of Colleen's too. They were friends for years and even started a podcast together right before Colleen's cancellation. Soon after though, Trish found out that Colleen had been sending fans explicit images from her OnlyFans page to make fun of her body.
I do not condone at all unsolicited nudes, sending unsolicited nudes to anyone of anybody, sex worker or not. I think using someone's nudes as a way to hurt them, make fun of them, make light of them, be mean is the lowest form of human, the lowest form of intelligence. I think that's so inhumane. I think that's so disgusting for anyone. Last night, the text messages were shown, and it's very clearly from Colleen to a fan. Has over 500,000 views on Twitter.
No matter how you feel about Trish, this is an objectively horrible thing to do to a friend. Like, I can't imagine how disheartened and betrayed she felt. Their podcast never returned, as you'd expect, and Trish was very empathetic towards Colleen's victims. So when JoJo's interview with Howie Mandel came out, Trish honestly shared some great insight about JoJo and her ex-friend in this 30-minute video.
One of her own friends is now an adult, 20, and we're seeing this firsthand, and I don't blame JoJo. I never blame the child. At 35, I am still realizing, I am still discovering things that were wrong that happened to me, things that I felt guilt about for so many years because I was groomed and I didn't know it. I didn't understand it. I didn't think anything wrong. I was like, I was always cool with this person. I was always cool with these people. So I just thought It's not grooming.
Trish went on to say that grooming isn't inherently sexual, and I'm so glad she mentioned that. Even though sexual abuse is the most common motive for grooming, it's not the only one. There are other motives like financial or emotional gain. At its core, grooming is when a person in power takes advantage of a vulnerable party for nefarious purposes. It's a method of control and manipulation, so anyone of any age can be groomed. In Colleen's case, we're talking about an adult who successfully got emotionally close to JoJo, a child. If that's not grooming, then I don't know what is. But people's empathy can only extend so far. With her hubris on full display, the internet was done with JoJo's bullshit. And it didn't help that on September 25th, 2023, Avery uploaded a story time about a former toxic relationship. She alleged that they ran into her unnamed ex-girlfriend's ex and her new girlfriend at a concert. And apparently, Avery's ex and her ex's ex were a little too friendly with each other.
One time me and my girlfriend at the time were at this concert and then her ex shows up. So she decides to go start talking to her ex. Her ex is so into the conversation, she's like leaning over the rail like, oh my god, I heard she's gonna play the song that's on our Smiley Face album. Me and her girlfriend are just sitting there like,
fast forward to the next morning, this ex-partner let Avery know that she was going to text her ex to make sure there was no bad blood between them.
I'm working on her computer, and then text messages pop up when she's downstairs. Turns out she sent more messages, something along the lines of, oh, I still have the thing you gave me when we first met. And the ex's response, keep in mind she had a girlfriend at the time, was the pet name that they used to call each other, and oh, I still have that too, and I also have the ring that you gave me. So I went downstairs and I told her I saw them.
Then, after Avery's ex dropped her off at the airport 3 days later, she dumped Avery over voice memo. And Avery barely walked through the door when this happened, mind you. But after having a dream about Avery that night, suddenly this ex wanted to get back together.
Obviously, I wanted her back, but I was like, really think about what you want. I was almost convincing her to take more time and to really think about what she wanted because I could not handle this again.
Immediately, things were weird. Avery was being showered with gifts and jewelry, but something still felt off. And once confronted about this, her ex decided that they should remain friends for the time being. But here's the twist.
And then a couple days later, she gets caught hanging with her ex. Keep in mind, this is the same ex that her and her entire family would talk so badly about.
This weird limbo the two of them were in ended on a work vacation a few weeks later. According to Avery, it became a friends with benefits type of situation, and ultimately, Avery was fed up with the mixed signals, so she ended things for good. There's no keeping secrets on TikTok, so users quickly surmised that Avery was talking about JoJo. And it turns out they attended the same Fletcher concert as Kylie and her new girlfriend Rylan Utah in 2022. That might be the gayest sentence I've ever uttered. Both couples would break up a month later, and in a podcast from February 2023, Rylan claimed that Kylie cheated on her with JoJo.
I trust people, but I had insane intuition. I felt nauseous. I felt sick. And I have really good intuition. So, if I feel like something's wrong, I'm normally right. And I was like, I don't want to have to check her location. This is so shitty. And I look, and it says Siwa Studios.
What the
So if I have my timeline correct, does that mean JoJo also cheated? Or that this was the reason she dumped Avery over voice memo, allegedly? Who's to say? 3 days later, Avery posted part 2 of her toxic relationship story time.
One time I dated this girl who I am fully convinced to this day that she liked nothing about me. Which is kind of ironic because she was literally begging me to ask her to be my girlfriend after 2 months of talking. And then said if I hadn't have asked her on that trip, she was gonna end things with me. Oh, but also mentioned within 10 minutes of me asking her that she doesn't do the honeymoon phase.
Avery's gotta be alluding to the Disney trip where they made things official. So if it wasn't obvious before, moreover, this ex would complain if Avery didn't post her enough on social media. And also, according to Avery, this same ex was super critical of everything she did, like her hobbies and how she showed affection, and even little things like singing in the shower.
I swear this girl would make me cry every single day. I'd be pulling the tear, and she would literally have no idea. I distinctly remember me crying on our 1 month anniversary because she was mocking my singing. She mocked me and I got quiet and she was like, oh, am I gonna push you over the edge? And I was like, yeah, probably. And she was like, sounds fun. and did it again, and I started crying. Like, what? On the way to the 1 month anniversary surprise.
So if this is JoJo, it seems like she maintains some flexibility from her dance training, cause how else would she keep up with all this mental gymnastics? Avery felt like she had to change herself in order to please her ex, but one can only keep up that facade for so long. And at the end, Avery learned that the right person will love you for you. And that's true. You should never have to change for anyone's validation or approval. Once Avery said her piece, a lot of viewers were on her side. When some fans went back to their old vlogs, they came across moments that affirmed Avery's claims.
What you got?
Get out of your nose, too.
Corn ice cream.
Wait, can I try?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Now you got a little bit of your... Oh, it's Okay.
Thank you so much, Jerry.
Oh, you got a little more. Oh, sorry.
Stop. Like, give me that. Go in.
Plus, the Howie Mandel interview was still so fresh, and many people believed they were seeing JoJo's true colors. Besides some minor shade and promo for a new reality show she was on, JoJo kept quiet. Until Avery made a TikTok lip-syncing to the bridge of Get Him Back by Olivia Rodrigo while cutting an Arby's roast beef sandwich. Then 2 days later, JoJo posted a TikTok playing that exact same part of Get Him Back while eating an Arby's roast beef sandwich. As much as JoJo sucks, unfortunately, this was hilarious. Like, I can't lie. She ate. Really, she literally ate. Then on November 1st, 2023, JoJo announced that some of the Dance Moms cast are returning for a reunion airing on Lifetime the following year. This reunion would include Brooke, Paige, Chloe, Kalani, Kendall, and Miss BowBow with the JoJo herself. Thankfully, Abby would not be at the reunion. Not that she'd be missed, but neither would Nia, Maddie, and Mackenzie, though there was a mini reunion the night before the announcement for Paige's 23rd birthday party. Not to sound like a total fangirl, but seeing these pictures from the party gave me the biggest dopamine rush. I'm just so glad that they're still friends after all these years. Warms my heart. So if any of the Dance Moms girlies happen to be watching right now, I doubt you are, but I hope you're doing well. I really do. In that same month, JoJo also announced her brand new podcast, JoJo Siwa Now, set to air on iHeartRadio. I swear, influencer podcasts have become the new celebrity perfumes. And I'm sure that soundbite will come back to haunt me when I inevitably start my own podcast. It's a matter of when, not if. With all due respect, though, I don't think most people were aware of JoJo Siwa's podcast until a few months later when this clip circulated on TikTok.
One of the biggest things for me right now that I'm looking for in a relationship is somebody who is ready for kids. I am not ready, but I'm very near ready. And I think that within the next 3, 4, I wish I could say 2, 3, but I still feel like I will be a little young in 2 years, but I say 3, 4 because I feel like that's like pregnant in 3, babies in 4, you know what I mean? And that is something that I care very, very much about.
Are you sure about that, JoJo? Are you really sure? Have we thought about it for more than 10 seconds? The same person who defended her friend facing grooming allegations wants children of her own. Yeah, I'm sure that'll end well. Though again, I should reiterate that JoJo is a victim. What happened to her is not her fault, but it is her responsibility to heal from it before she repeats the cycle, although I'm afraid she's already started. On February 13th, 2024, Rolling Stone released a bombshell article titled, JoJo Siwa Promised Them Pop Stardom. They say they were thrown in the trash. With momager Jesselyn Siwa, the star put together a new girl group, XOMG Pop. But after 4 members left, fans had questions about what really happened. The article follows Leah Sanderson, a former member who, according to her and her mom Angie, were treated poorly by the Siwas behind the scenes. Not only is Leah a talented dancer, she's also a resilient person. She was born with spina bifida, which is when the spine and the spinal cord don't form properly, and this can lead to complications. In Leah's case, she's undergone numerous surgeries in her 17 years on this planet, and she still struggles with chronic pain and bladder infections to this day. Yet, that hasn't stopped her from pursuing her dreams. She was one of 7 finalists in the first and only season of Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution. The 7 new members of XOMG Pop were told they'd be the next big girl group. Leah was so excited to work with the Siwas because she loved dance moms and, in particular, idolized JoJo. Despite some hesitations, Leah and Angie made the big move from Texas to LA to pursue this huge opportunity. According to the Sandersons and other anonymous crew members, the group endured long and exhausting dance rehearsals, occasionally to the point where they had to skip school, which, if true, is illegal. The girls ranged from 9 to 16 at the time, and according to the California Department of Industrial Relations, legally, child entertainers at their age can only work 5 hours a day max when school is in session. School is required for 3 hours a day on set, and they're also entitled to a 1-hour break. Leah and Angie told Rolling Stone that the Siwas were very domineering. JoJo, in particular, was a very hostile coach. She was known to scream at the girls, play favorites, and pit certain members against each other. Sounds like someone else we know. The group also felt that they were pressured to cry on camera because it made better TV. But then, allegedly, the girls would come home to gift baskets from the Siwas, as if Reese's peanut butter cups would make up for the abuse they faced that day. Furthermore, the Sandersons alleged that Jess was also extremely cutthroat. For instance, Leah claimed that one time she started bleeding through her belly button mid-rehearsal, and instead of sending her home, Jess told her to put a maxi pad on so the blood wouldn't leak through her costume. Priorities though. This happened days before Leah was supposed to go in for spinal cord surgery. Then, just weeks later, Jess pressured Leah to come back early to film a music video. Keep in mind, this girl was recovering from spinal cord surgery. Depending on the procedure, it can take 6 months to a year for your spine to completely heal. Angie and the other mothers tried to speak out against the toxic work environment, but once word got back to Jess, she and Leah were fired. Leah and I were in a dark place for months and months that I don't think we were healthy enough to speak out about, Angie says. Now that we've had time to recover and heal from it, we're in a place where we are ready to share and tell people about everything. Since their termination, a lot of these claims have been substantiated by contracts, emails, texts, and sources close to the production of Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution. Like I mentioned earlier, Leah was one of 4 members who cut times with XOMG Pop without explanation. Supposedly, Angie was the only one who didn't sign an NDA, hence why she's the only parent who's spoken out so far. However, the mothers of the remaining girls released a joint statement saying, "Jess has taken care of the girls as her own. JoJo has played an older sister role and supportive mentor to the girls. We value the time, energy, attention, and financial commitment the Siwas have given us." Another wrote, "Since we have joined, we only have had an amazing and positive experience. I find it very hard to believe the Siwas could have done anything wrong." Another XOMG Pop mother wrote, "My daughter has been a part of the group since day one, and I can attest to it being a healthy, positive environment." And another said she was saddened by the allegations, writing, "I hope for our kids' sake that their dreams and hard work won't be hurt by this story of disgruntled parents." Yeah, and I hope your kids' dreams and hard work won't be hurt by the Siwa's abusive behavior. Allegedly. Those NDAs are working overtime right now. Of course, the Siwas denied the allegations. Jess released a statement through her lawyer, Brian Friedman. "These allegations are 100% provably false, and the story is created to generate clicks at the expense of the truth. Had actual investigative reporting been done, the voluminous and irrefutable evidence would tell you all you need to know, that a disgruntled momager's own abusive behavior caused for her daughter to be asked not to return to the group. Her relentless texts begging for forgiveness and for her daughter to be reinstated completely discredit her and these ridiculous allegations. Jess Siwa was protecting the staff, the other girls, and their families, which she will continue to do vociferously and unapologetically." Yeah, I already know you're guilty because you're using a stupid-ass SAT word like vociferously. Since then, there haven't been further updates. However, I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into a nasty legal battle, So I guess we'll have to wait and see if anything more comes to light. Even though viewers were demanding JoJo to address the allegations, she thought this was the perfect time to debut her new era. Her Bad Girl rebrand commenced with a tattoo reveal back in February. JoJo went from having 0 tattoos to an entire patchwork sleeve. JoJo ordered from Inkbox once and suddenly she's a whole new person. This very real and very legit tattoo sleeve also included the names of her future children.
You guys make the most beautiful children, and I love, JoJo, I heard you on your podcast. You've already named your children?
Fully.
Really?
I actually have 2 tattoos dedicated to them. This one's dedicated to my baby girl one day. Her name is Freddie. Then this is dedicated to twin boys, Eddie and Teddy.
Freddie, Eddie, and Teddy.
Freddie, Eddie, and Teddy. I wanted 3 babies. I have my sperm donor lined up.
Wait, where's the sperm
You already got it lined up.
Joelle Joanie Siwa, have we seriously learned nothing? Talk about the allegations from the XOMG Pop kids first before you even consider having your own.
I got a question. If you could have one heaven phone call, this is a random heaven phone call, okay? Nothing too serious. If it was serious, I'd call grandma, grandpa, uncle I never got to meet, someone like that. Unserious heaven phone call. Who are you calling? Personally, I'm calling the people in the Titanic submarine. The situation, the submersible, that whole thing. I'm calling them. My friend said she would call John Benet Ramsey. I feel like that's a pretty good one. Who are you calling? What are we asking? Give me your take on this.
Okay, yassified Paulie D. See, this is what I thought I looked like in 4th grade when I scribbled on my arm in religion class. She actually wound up getting 2 real tattoos, 1 on each hand, which is crazy to me because I thought that was a big no-no in the tattoo world. Like, a lot of artists won't give you hand tattoos if you're not, like, already tatted. But it was clear that something was brewing in Studio Siwa. On March 10th, 2024, JoJo posted a cryptic message on TikTok saying that this was her last day as a child star. Babe, weren't you talking about being a bottom on Rachel Ballinger's podcast like 2 years ago? Your child star days have been over. That's why you and your mom were so desperate to get XOMG Pop off the ground. Regardless, the internet waited with bated breath to see what JoJo had in store. Then came the first teaser. Yes! Yes! I love sexual themes and violence! Do you think she'll say the F word? Oh, I hope my mom will still let me watch. On March 12th, JoJo guest starred on the Jennifer Hudson show and confirmed that she'd been secretly working on new music.
JoJo, you coming out with some new music.
What?
Yes. Girl, tell us about it.
Actually, yesterday I gave the heads up, like, hey, it's not for kids anymore.
Oh.
A week later, JoJo revealed that the first single in her new era was called Karma. However, based on the visuals and some fairly recent Snapchat videos of her singing, users were skeptical about the quality of JoJo's newest song.
You're still a traitor. Yeah, you're still a traitor.
All right. Okay. Whatever notes you want, Queen. The following teasers only reaffirmed people's hesitations about JoJo's new Bad Girl era. What in the Gene Simmons is going on here? This is what happens after one too many JoJo juices. But Karma's media circus had only begun. JoJo spent a pretty penny on this jumpsuit, and god damn it, she was gonna get her money's worth.
I wanted to make art that made people go, what?
Oh, you are, JoJo. You certainly are.
Similar to Miley Cyrus' Bangers, Britney Spears' Slave for You. That for me was very important that I brought back crazy.
Is it comfortable?
Bangers? More like bonkers, am I right? You see, this guy gets it. Whew. Technically, this could be considered JoJo's Bangers era. Going from a former child star to a young adult comes with growing pains, like having a good girl gone bad phase. They're so desperate to break out of that cookie cutter mold, so they go from one extreme to the other. And as they find themselves over the years, eventually most fall somewhere in the middle.
I cannot get the song out of my head.
It's very catchy. The problem is, every part is catchy. It's like all of a sudden your head will be like, I was a bad girl. Carmen is a bitch. It's like all of a sudden your brain, there's multiple parts.
I gotta hand it to JoJo. She's her own biggest hype woman, and I love that for her. But it would be a crime if I did not show you the best soundbite to ever leave JoJo's mouth. Another reporter asked who her dream podcast guest is, and just take a look.
Dream guest on my podcast? Oh my gosh. I mean, honestly, let's spice things up. One of my exes.
Oh? Dream guest on my podcast? Unfortunately for everyone around me, that is going to be my vocal stim for the next 7 to 10 days. So thanks, JoJo. I don't have to say it though, right? JoJo's trying way too hard. What convinced me was this viral pap shot of JoJo walking out of an adult toy shop with a stuffed phallus, and I hate that it's kind of adorable. Her give-a-fucks are definitely not on vacation. If anything, I'd barely call this a rebrand because it's exactly what she's been doing since she was a kid. Sparkles, big hair, elaborate costumes, but maybe now she'll say the F word. Fingers crossed. This is literally JoJo's version of the horseshoe theory, and if anything, her rebrand shows how much growing up she still needs to do. So is she trying to overcompensate for being called a giant toddler for years? Is this like her version of a belated teenage rebellion phase? Personally, I think she needs to rebel against her makeup artist, but whatever JoJo was doing worked, and it worked almost too well. People have been recreating the makeup, you know the dance I'm talking about. And this is exactly what she wanted. Some creators even took on the liberty of trying to predict JoJo's new sound.
I'm driving in my seatbelt, doesn't go over my chest. I know it's for the best, but I'm an adult now. And I do what I want.
I'm a bad girl, bad girl. I stay up late. I kiss girls on the first date. I'm all grown up. Yeah, so what? I don't give up what you say.
Unfortunately, they weren't too far off. The ho-ho Siwa, Tana Mojo, got in on the fun as well, which JoJo was not too happy about.
I was a bad girl. I'm doing bad things.
You think she's ever taken like a perk 30 and like cussed somebody out?
I doubt JoJo's done a perk 30 or whatever, but I do think she's been high off the smell of her own farts for too long. Most people saw right through JoJo's bad girl shtick. They thought it was convenient for JoJo to rebrand herself now, while major news outlets were covering the serious allegations against her and her mom. Granted, this project didn't happen overnight. JoJo said that she's been working on it for years, but the timing is rather curious. Sadly, the XOMG Pop controversy seems to have been drowned out by all the memes and jokes. For some reason though, JoJo still had defenders, like this person who said we should stop bullying her because she might have autism. Not because she is autistic, but because there's a chance she's autistic.
I don't like when I see people making fun of JoJo Siwa. I don't like it because there's a good possibility that she's autistic.
Sorry, what? Why has the internet become so comfortable with diagnosing strangers?
Oh my god, Paige, you're not even a doctor. How can you even say that? When it comes to bullying somebody about like being autistic, I think it's, safer to assume that someone's autistic than not and just like stop bullying them, But also, a lot of the things that people bully her for are things that people bully autistic people for.
I think that's true to a certain extent, and JoJo's been unfairly scrutinized in the past. But the reason people don't like her now is because she defends her predatory friends, allegedly, and exploits children, supposedly, and viewers are calling her out for the ridiculous way she's dodging accountability. She's responsible for her actions whether she's autistic or not. Granted, there's always going to be people who take it too far. Apparently, some users were calling JoJo acoustic and the R slur in her comments, and that's just straight up ableist and disgusting, and you should be ashamed of yourselves.
As a dancer and a dance teacher who is autistic and has ADHD, most dancers are autistic and have ADHD. Not trying to diagnose everybody, obviously, but most of my dancers.
While that might be this creator's experience, it's still a huge blanket statement to make. People do this with fictional characters, like this character from this TV show is autistic coded, which is fine because they're not real people. But JoJo is a real person who has never said she's autistic. It's no better than shipping two co-stars or band members. Honestly, it's probably worse. I found a couple articles saying JoJo has ADHD, but I don't know how reliable they are. Oftentimes, ADHD and autism go hand in hand, but that's not the case for everyone, and I'm not saying that's the case for JoJo. So take that with a grain of salt. No matter what, though, it's inappropriate to speculate on a real person's diagnosis.
Plus, I've been watching this girl since she was little on Dance Moms, and I was like, oh, that's f***ing me. And now I see her in interviews, and I'm like, that's me. I think there's a possibility.
That could be true, but even so, that doesn't make it fair game for you to say JoJo's autistic in such a definite manner. She very well could be, but until JoJo confirms it, let's not pathologize her. Again, real human being we're talking about. This has turned into Schrodinger's autism diagnosis. Say JoJo does have autism though, okay? Let's headcanon her as an autistic woman who just hasn't told the public yet. Perhaps there's a reason why, and we're not entitled to that information either way. This was one of the worst takes on the situation I've seen thus far, but please do not send hate to this person, though I'd like this to be a reminder that neurodivergent people can still be bad girls who do bad things. But the weeks of endless promo led to April 5th, 2024. Karma's release day. I mean, she uploaded so many previews that it's like, you might as well drop it, you know? I'd rather not get copyright claimed by the Siwas, so I can't play the music video. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Breaking out the green screen for this one. It's a special occasion after all. Anyway, welcome to WatchJoJo.com. I'm your host, Anita U-Haul, and today we'll be counting down our picks for our top 10 moments from Karma by JoJo Siwa. At number 10, we have the opening line. Out the gate, JoJo makes it clear, I was a bad girl, I did some bad things. Thank you for the reminder. Why show when you can just tell? At number 9 is JoJo's trust fall into the ocean. I mean, who doesn't love an Irish goodbye? And imagine my surprise when I found out that JoJo can not only breathe, but also sing underwater. It's giving Little Mermaid. It's giving H2O. Nar, jar, jar, nar. At number 8 is JoJo's Ariel, cause I know that made Abby Lee proud, but maybe point those feet next time. For number 7, we're gonna revisit the lyrics for a second. So the pre-chorus goes, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not cheat, thou shalt not get caught, or you'll end up just like me. But when JoJo sings it the first time, she's like, thou shalt not get caught. I really like that. At number 6, we have what I like to call the titty titty thrust. Titty titty thrust. Titty titty thrust. At number 5 is the title, Karma. Hey JoJo, what's it called when your best friend loses views, subscribers, and any goodwill she had left with the internet because she creeped on children? Yeah, that's what I thought. You might be shocked, but I'm putting the best dance move ever at number 4. Some of you might say she was robbed, and maybe you were right. But I'm standing on business, and I think the best dance move ever is a lovely third alternate. Karma's a bitch. Karma's a bitch. At number 3 is the chorus. It goes, Karma's a bitch, I should have known better. If I had a wish, I would have never effed around. Sorry, effed? You mean f***ed, right? You're such a bad girl. Come back when you can curse like an adult. Next song, I better hear you say f***, ass, pussy, c***. At number 2, we have the lesbian representation. Although Hollywood's been amplifying queer stories more over the years, as a lesbian, I still think we're underrepresented in the media. But then, JoJo came along, and thanks to her, I finally feel seen. I feel like someone's finally given us a voice. Okay, what the f*** is this? This is our representation? I'm done. I don't get paid enough for this. Cut the cameras, now! All jokes aside, I really meant what I said about lesbian representation. Not for nothing, that's why JoJo's the queen of gay pop.
The genre is, I said it back in the day when I first signed with Columbia, I said I wanted to start a new genre of music. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called gay pop. And they were like, what's that? And I was like, it's like K-pop, right? But it's gay pop.
Oh, don't worry. We got it, JoJo. I guess lesbian Jesus means nothing to you. JoJo's honestly the first and only person to do anything.
But I'm kind of the only influencer that also does music. You know what I mean? Like,
you gotta respect the shamelessness a little bit. Like, while the entire internet's been clowning on her, she said, if no one's got me, then I got me. Going back to the former clip, to say that you, a 20-year-old lesbian living in 2024, invented gay pop is beyond deluded when so many queer artists before your time paved the way so that you can also make gay pop. There's David Bowie, Prince, Elton John, JoJo's fave, Freddie Mercury, and if we're talking queer women in music, there's Tegan and Sarah, Kalani, Tracy Chapman, Sophie, Lady Gaga, Drake, and so many other LGBT artists across the spectrum. Maybe what I said a few seconds ago wasn't a joke. JoJo believes she's actually the first to do everything. Don't get me wrong, I truly love that JoJo's an out and proud lesbian entertainer, and I do think at one point she was positive LGBTQ+ representation for the younger crowd. The fact that she performed for 55,000 people at Miami Pride last month is insane. But at least acknowledge your predecessors who made it possible for you to get there in the first place. You know what? This has inspired me to start a new genre of YouTube. It's called Gay YouTube, or GayTube for short. Right, this is me gay drinking water. This is me gay sitting. This is me gay filming. Everything I do can be called gay anything, and I'd be the first to do it. To be fair, JoJo went back on our comment in an interview with TMZ, saying she'd rather be the CMO or Chief Marketing Officer of gay pop.
Definitely am not the inventor of gay pop, for sure not. But I do want to be a piece in making it bigger than it already is.
Okay.
I want to bring more attention to it.
Okay.
I'm not the creator, but I'm not the president, but I might be like the CEO or the like CMO.
Okay.
I could be the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer.
I like that.
Despite all the criticism, this didn't stop JoJo from celebrating the release of her new single in some good company. As they say, ain't no party like a predator party, hey! Allegedly. But at least some of the Dance Moms cast was super supportive. That was pretty wholesome. Another small controversy that coincided with the gay pop stuff was JoJo's beef with Lil Tay. TMZ reported that Lil Tay called JoJo a fraud and didn't want fans to compare them, and then JoJo liked a shady tweet about her. There's really no comparison between JoJo and hashtag Lil Tay anyway. Hashtag JoJo Siwa has a career. Lil Tay is just a meme and a pathetic one at that. Damn, Melissa. You think Lil Tay ran over her dog or something. One thing about Lil Tay though, she's not about the subtweets. She's gonna tag you if she has something to say. At It's JoJo Siwa, you're a scary ass bitch. If you have something to say about me, say it, and this time don't delete your comment or unlike shady tweets. Don't let those paid YouTube views and botted Spotify streams get to your head, Madonna from Dollar Tree ass bitch. Not Madonna. What did Madonna do to you? But enough about petty internet beef. We need to analyze Karma a little deeper. One of the song's main themes is cheating and its consequences. Thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not cheat, thou shalt not get caught, or you'll end up just like me. Oh, karma's a bitch, I should have known better. If I had a wish, I would have never effed around. When I saw the pics of you and her, I felt the knife twist. Karma's a bitch, and she's with you right now. Facts no printer. People speculated that this song was about Avery Cyrus, JoJo's most recent ex. On the Call Her Daddy podcast, she told Alex Cooper that her last relationship was very public and very traumatic. Allegedly, Avery was sending anonymous texts to JoJo, and she had to get her security team involved.
Like, what are the feelings that hit you?
At first, I had a weird gut instinct.
Okay.
Had a weird gut instinct, and I was like, I bet it's. And then I sent it to my team, and then he was like, hey, we need a call, because it is somebody that was very, very close to you that did this. And I was like, oh, me, okay. And at first I was like, okay, whatever. But then I was like, wait. I was like, that's actually not okay. And then it didn't hit me again until I tried to date again. And then I realized, like, I can't, I wouldn't want to be around someone alone because of what happened.
Then Alex asked her about how she created Karma, and JoJo said she began writing new music 2 years ago after signing with Columbia Records.
We started off like pretty pretty calm, like nothing like what's out right now. And then I got pitched this song, Karma.
Sorry, what was that?
And then I got pitched this song, Karma.
Now check out this clip from JoJo's Billboard interview.
The song does sound like a 2010 record. It does, and that was the goal. But there was a point in time where it sounded a little too 2010. We reined it in. We found the mix of 2024 and 2010 to make it that same style to fit more into today's world.
Interesting. So what if I told you that Karma was actually from the early 2010s? Supposedly, Karma, originally Karma's a Bitch, was pitched to Miley Cyrus in 2011 for her third studio album, Can't Be Tamed, but she passed on it. So the single was given to up-and-coming singer-songwriter Britt Smith. She recorded the track and music video with Rock Mafia in 2012, but ultimately it was scrapped, and Britt was forced to make a different song called Provocative, her lead single, but it didn't perform well, and she left the music industry. Once this information resurfaced, people accused JoJo of stealing Karma for Britt Smith. So out of spite, they started streaming Britt's version instead. The 2012 music video garnered millions of views in the past month, and the song peaked at number 8 on the US iTunes pop charts. Not to sound like a contrarian or nothing, but I like Britt Smith's version better. Not just her voice, but like I also prefer the emotion she put behind her version. She sounds remorseful, like Karma's a bitch, I should have known better, I got what I deserved. Whereas JoJo's version feels like it's coming from a self-righteous place, at least that was my interpretation of it. I can't play either one for copyright reasons, so you'll just have to take my word for it. It's all subjective though, I'm just a silly little guy with silly little opinions, but if you like JoJo's version more, let me know. Meanwhile, JoJo told TMZ that she had no idea who Britt Smith was, which angered people even more. And it's a good thing I call you guys my sinners, because all I'm doing in this video is playing devil's advocate, but JoJo was not in the wrong. This time. Britt Smith didn't write Karma's a Bitch either. Desmond Child did, and this guy has written for some of the biggest artists from the past 40 years, like Cher, Bon Jovi, and Aerosmith. It's pretty common for record labels to buy the rights to a song and pitch it to different artists until one accepts and records their own version, and that's what happened with JoJo and Karma. Columbia pitched the song to her.
So people think that you said that you wrote it.
Yeah.
They can't find the receipt.
Exactly. There's nothing out there of me being like, so when I wrote Karma, I was thinking this. I would never say that because I literally did not write it, but when I was pitched Karma and I heard it, I was like, wow, this is a song for me.
Some people were like, oh, well, she sure made it seem like she wrote it, but this happens all the time. One of your favorite artists has probably released a song pitched for someone else. For example, Toxic, sung by Britney Spears, written for Kylie Minogue. Since You Be Gone, Kelly Clarkson's biggest hit, was offered to Pink and Hilary Duff first. Now this one surprised me, but in another world, Paris Hilton would have sung Don't Ya by the Pussycat Dolls. Since then, Britt has come out in defense of JoJo. In a TikTok, she reaffirmed that JoJo did not steal her song.
You guys saying that we want to make her dreams come true 12 years later has just been so unbelievably nice, and even kind of inspired me a little bit to think about maybe stepping back into this, possibly. You know, I have a 2-month-old and a 22-month-old, so it was definitely, a surprising thing at this stage of my life, but also kind of a moment that I just thought, well, if the universe is putting this in front of me, maybe I should try again for a minute.
Britt said she's grateful for all the support, and she's happy that JoJo and the fans have breathed new life into Karma 12 years later. She even told Page 6 that she liked JoJo's version.
Nice. Do you think JoJo did it justice?
Yeah, I think, it's nice to hear different interpretations of it. I was, attached to my version, but it's nice to hear.
There are a lot of things to criticize JoJo for, but this isn't one of them. Instead of holding her to a double standard, let's get mad at like 90% of singers in the industry right now, because they probably sang a song that was pitched to them. But what a time it was for the Dance Moms reunion to premiere on May 1st. After Karma, the XOMG Pop controversy, really this entire year, fans were sick and tired of seeing JoJo everywhere. They were also confused about why she was invited in the first place, because she had the shortest run out of everyone at the reunion. I'll tell you why. Clout. Why do you think JoJo was in every promo video on Lifetime's YouTube channel? Objectively, she is the most successful person from Dance Moms, so it makes sense Whether you like that or not is a different story. Don't get me wrong, there were some wholesome moments in the reunion, like when Chloe shared her coming out story, and it was just nice seeing some of the OGs in the same room together after like 10 years. But JoJo definitely took over the conversation a lot, and she had the nerve to defend Abby Lee Miller to the faces of the 3 girls who arguably faced the most abuse from her.
This is gonna be a little controversial to say, I think, but to me, Abby was always right.
I mean, Paige's face says it all right there.
I did interrupt 2 adults talking. If I was a mess and a beat off, she wasn't just yelling at me because she wanted to yell at me. I actually was a mess and was a beat off. One thing that I've learned, like really working insane in Hollywood, is that that's normal.
Just because it's normal doesn't make it right. I'm gonna sound like my mom for a sec, but if a friend told JoJo to jump off a bridge, would she jump off the bridge too because everyone else is doing it?
It's scary that that's normal, but that taught me how to survive in the industry. I mean, it truly is so tough.
She's basically saying Abby prepared her for the real world, and I hate when people use this excuse for behavior. Like, yeah, the world can be cruel, but does that justify the way Abby terrorized those children for years? And if we all know the world is toxic, then why feed into it? Why not create a safe space instead to give the kids a break from the real world? You can be a good teacher without screaming in their faces. In fact, I'd argue that screaming in children's faces makes you a bad teacher.
If y'all were to have a child, a daughter in particular, would you allow her to have a teacher like Abby Lee in her life?
I mean, like Clooney said, Abby really wasn't that far off of how actual dance.
It depends on all of us sitting here could handle Abby, could handle the environment of Dance Moms. We did. We all turned out fine. Yeah. Of course, we have our moments here and there.
Did you now? I only saw a few clips and pictures from press week of all the girls, and you can tell there was a bit of tension between JoJo and the rest of them. But if someone told you to your face that your abuser was right, who could blame them? But JoJo stays talking about the ZIEGLERS like it's her job.
Them not being here is kind of like, let me erase my past, pretend it never happened, shove it down the drain, when it's like, that's why you are who you are.
Not to be like, well, actually, but that's objectively wrong because Maddie has stated before that she's grateful for her time on Dance Moms.
And while it may come across as if Maddie and Kenzie are trying to erase their past, Maddie's told ET many times she'll never forget her roots.
I'm so grateful for the show because it got me to where I am today, and it's helped me, you know, with so many opportunities, and I'm so grateful for that.
2 things can be true. Maddie and Mackenzie can be thankful that Dance Moms opened so many doors for them, but also not want to relive their time on the show. The Ziegler sisters weren't yelled at as much, but Maddie in particular experienced a whole different form of abuse from Abby, along with the resentment and jealousy from other moms at only 8 years old. Instead, they're choosing to focus on their respective crafts. Maddie's an actress, Mackenzie is a singer, and it's their right to leave the show in the past. That's not a sign of ungratefulness. It's setting boundaries for their mental well-being. We are not entitled to their story, and when I say we, that does include JoJo. If the Ziegler sisters ever decide to do a tell-all or release a book in like 10 years from now, I will be pre-ordering, but I'm not expecting that from them. We should respect their privacy, actually. Based on this video with Joey Graceffa alone, it's evident that Maddie and Mackenzie live rent-free in JoJo's mind. Joey asked who her least favorite member of Dance Moms was, and she said this.
Okay, I have an answer.
Okay.
I do have an answer.
Okay.
I do have an answer because they like TikToks making fun of me.
Stop.
Kenzie. I love Kenzie with all my heart, but I was really hurt by that.
Oh.
I was really hurt by that. Kenzie, I love you. I really, really do. But when I saw the reposts of people being like, oh my God, no way, Kenzie liked this, favorited it, and commented, I was like, oh, that's shady.
Ooh.
I'm not saying this wasn't shady on Kenzie's part. It is. Like I said with the Britt Smith drama, I want to avoid holding JoJo to a double standard. Quite honestly, this should probably be handled offline. Besides the reunion, the month of May has slowed down in terms of controversy for JoJo, but there's always something happening in Studio Siwa. For example, JoJo can't escape the stealing allegations. In the past week, she was accused of stealing former WWE wrestler Luna Vachon's entire persona from 1989.
Wait for it.
What do you want, Johnny C?
Listen, Beastie, I wanted to go over a few things with you before the IRS man gets here.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, I wrote your makeup off as a health expense.
How'd you manage that?
Well, I told them if you didn't wear any, the audience gets sick.
I mean, the resemblance is uncanny. At least Luna Vachon didn't get her eye makeup tattooed on her arm. You gotta love it though, especially when your ex is jamming to the song you wrote about her with her ex. What happened was that Avery and Soph were spotted at a gay bar a few weeks ago, and when Karma came on, they were on stage singing their hearts out. The irony is not lost on me, and the fact that they knew the words too is just hilarious. The largest update though has to be SNL's parody of JoJo performed by Chloe Fineman in a Weekend Update skit on May 5th.
Does it scare you, Colin? Does a former child star looking like this scare you?
Yeah, but not in the way you're hoping.
I'm in my bad girl era now.
Little late to hop on the JoJo Siwa bandwagon, don't you think? I wouldn't know anything about that. And the final update I have is from May 19th, JoJo's 21st birthday. Cake and candles to her, by the way. Shout out to our girl. And in the US of A, that means JoJo can drink legally, and she surely did at Disney World, of all places. All decked out in her bedazzled construction vest, JoJo tried to start a Karma sing-along in Epcot.
Wish I would have never effed around. Yeah, we know it. It'd be your own.
Here, let's try this one. Thou shalt not
Lie.
Thou shalt not
Cheat.
Thou shalt not get caught, or you'll
End up just like me.
She really seems to love this construction vest, though. Get my girl in the denim up there with you next time. But that's f***ing awesome, dude. If I was there, I would have sung along with JoJo because I'm a real Siwanator. A fan who spotted JoJo that same day asked her to say hi to a friend who also happens to be named Kylie.
Oh, that's my ex's name. Oh. Well, happy birthday, Kylie. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a canon event, I fear. JoJo's story is interesting because she had the quote-unquote privilege of growing up as a child star and a child influencer, and now we're seeing the ramifications of that as she tries to navigate young adulthood. I can't help but feel bad for her in a way because she was literally groomed to be in the spotlight. She had no chance at a normal childhood with Jess as her mother.
If I had another daughter, could I do all that work again? And the answer to that is like totally. Come on. But you know, it was so much work. You know, I put JoJo in dance because I was a dance teacher hoping, praying she would love it. And she did. She didn't love it as much as probably I loved it, but you know, she loved it a lot.
If anything, JoJo believes the contrary.
I have been so lucky, and I credit that to my mom. Yeah. My mom has kept every psychopath out of my life.
And how's that working for you? Thing is, and I'm not diagnosing her, let me make that clear, I don't think JoJo realizes that her childhood was not normal. She should not have been around so many adults at such a young age. She should have not had every moment of her life exploited for Jess's gain. She should not have been subjected to Abby Lee's abuse, even if it was only for a couple seasons. I think this clip from the We're Having Gay Sex podcast is very telling.
Well, the first show is Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition, and then I moved on and did Dance Moms when I was 11. So it's been a cute 10 years, but it's been all I know. Like, think about when you were 8, you don't really remember anything.
Yeah, no.
And I don't really remember much till I was like 16, really. And so it's like all I know. But
yeah.
That's a major red flag. It makes you wonder if this is why she keeps in touch with Abby and Colleen and Shane, if this is why she romanticizes her time on Dance Mom so much. Again, not diagnosing, I'm simply going off what she has said. I've seen some people joke that JoJo's gonna have her Britney moment in the next few years, and let's hope that doesn't happen. But for now, it's devastating to see her repeat the cycle. And as critical as I've been, I wish her an amazing, normal life where she's living on her own terms. And that is all I have to say on the matter. 16,000 words later. Maybe the real karma was the friends we made along the way. I've concluded that I know way too much about this woman now. As soon as this video's up, I want nothing to do with JoJo for at least the rest of this calendar year, but don't let that stop you from letting me know what you think about Miss JoJo with the BowBow. If you'd like to see more deep dives like this in the future, and I do mean future because this took a while, please let me know down below. And in general, if you have any particular video ideas for me, I have a Google form linked in the description where you can submit them. But thank you so much for watching this long ass video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a tiny thumbs up and subscribe down below. By liking and commenting, it lets me know whether or not you'd like to see longer videos from me in the future. But also, thank you, Aura, for sponsoring. Thank you for being here. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time with a new, shorter video. Bye!